So I've been talking about Underconsumption Core today, and I guess this shirt qualifies has a hole in it. But other than that, it's a perfectly good shirt just for wearing to work out in. And the exercise bike I'm on, as you can hear, it's a little bit loud, but still works really well, and I think I bought it back in the 90s. Anyway, it clunks every once in a while, so I am going to have to eventually spring for a new one. But yeah, so Underconsumption Core. This is our basement, by the way. Yeah, lots of underconsumption going on around here. Lots of things bug me on social media. Well, lots of things bug me, just generally. But I guess that's because I'm getting old and cranky. And so there's a lot of things that get up my nose on social media, and I should just stop watching stuff, really. But, I'm on my exercise bike, and I'm wanting to be entertained. I've been reading my book, I've been listening to a book, but I need something that's quick and snappy to just make sure I keep pedaling, and TikTok does that for me, but at times it drives me nuts. But you know what doesn't drive me nuts? These kids, these young content creators who are touting underconsumption. That I love. Apparently it's called Underconsumption Core. It's kind of a difficult name to get it's not a very catchy name, but it definitely gets the point across, because holy cow, are we obsessed with over-consuming in our world. And I think I said in my last video, come on people, we're drowning in clothes. And of course, underconsumption goes beyond shopping for clothes. But yeah, it's an ethic on social media that I can kind of get behind. After I watched a video, my first video that I watched about Underconsumption Core, and I started thinking, my gosh, there's a lot of cores. The first one I remember is Norm Core, because I remember quite a few years ago I wrote a blog post about it. So Norm Core was first, I don't know whether they thought up the name or whether they just identified that it was becoming a thing back in 2014, but it was written about by a trend forecasting group in New York called K-Hole. And Normcore was purportedly about ditching high-end, obvious designer brand name type clothing, and it was supposedly in aid of looking normal, hence Normcore, and not individual, but about just being normal and invisible, really. A nondescript type dressing. It's a rebellion against the whole, I guess, the whole chasing after the latest designer trend. And it seems that now, anytime there's any kind of a trend, it's a blank core. So, what did I find? Oh yeah, Gorp Core. That was a thing a while ago. Gorp being the snack that you make yourself to take on wilderness canoe trips, or to take camping, or when you're hiking or something. So Gorp Core was wearing outdoorsy clothing, specifically as streetwear. So like your Columbia fleece and your hiking boots or whatever in downtown Manhattan. Then of course last summer there was Barbie Core. Everybody was wearing pink. Well, I'm still wearing pink. Apparently, the Underconsumption Core enthusiasts are angling to de-influence the their viewers, to their anti-influencers, trying to undo the buy aesthetic that's constantly on social media. So we should all get behind that. You see lots of videos on TikTok in the past month or so, Underconsumption Core, people, mostly women, young women, showing their minimal wardrobes and their tiny little supply of skincare products and cosmetics and et cetera, et cetera. One of the things that is a bit of a problem, as you can see in the comments, that people who are thinking this is the next big thing want to embrace it. First thing they want to do is get rid of all their stuff, which of course is, that bit's not so good. Because of course then the thrift shops will be glutted, and so much of the donated stuff will end up in deserts in South America or landfills in Africa, which isn't a good thing. But the underconsumption, that they have the right idea. I mean, they're talking about buying something and using it, wearing it, sitting on it, driving it until it wears out, which is really what a lot of slow fashion is about. It's what the fashion revolution was about. I remember Orsola de Castro talking about keeping your clothes, that the most sustainable wardrobe is the one you already have, that kind of thing. So in that sense, Underconsumption Core is a good thing. It must be taking a hold a bit, because one of the articles I saw online yesterday when I was doing some reading is ringing alarm bells. What did they say? There's a worry, and this was a mainstream publication, that Underconsumption Core is going to lead to economic slowdown. Oh dear. Sorry, that oh dear sounded a little callous, because of course there is an economic slowdown. People will lose jobs, companies will lose business, etc., etc. But really, I mean, overconsumption has to slow down at some point. I mean, it has to. When you think about underconsumption, I mean, lots of us, we were raised to make do. My mom she was the master of making do. And we were raised to think that was, being creative and making stuff out of whatever you had. Like I still have pillowcases. I don't use them anymore. I keep them just for sentimental value. But my mom made pillowcases from flour sacks when she was first married, and then she crocheted the trim around the edges. And I still have some of those. I have a couple of those pillowcases. And she said that when she was first married, they used to use orange crates as bedside tables, bedside stands. And they take the orange crate and stand it on its end, and then she'd make a little curtain and tack it across the front, paint the orange crate and make a matching curtain, and that was their bedside stand. And even when we were kids, and Mom was a single parent with 4 of us, we didn't have a lot of money, and my grandmother had made white crocheted coverlets for the twin beds in my sister's bedroom. They shared a bedroom, and they were white, and of course the white, the crocheted, you can see there was holes in it, so you can see it through it. So Mom made curtains and like a coverlet to go over the bed and under the crocheted decorative thing. She just made it out of cotton that she bought on sale, and made the curtains and the bedspreads. And she tried to dye them pink, and they came out red. And when the sun shone in the girls' bedroom, as we called it, the whole room looked red. And I remember the mom put them up, and she was so proud of them. And I remember her saying, I mean, I might have been like 9. Oh my God, she said, it looks just like a bordello. And yeah, so I didn't know what a bordello was. Even when, like, when we had our first, when we were single, us girls, had our first apartment, I can remember my sister Connie, you know, finding these containers, and like, you know, they were round and big. They were cardboard, and they had plastic lids on them. I don't know where she got them, but she got this MacTac, you know, it was a sticky type stuff that had like a newsprint motif on it, and she painted the containers black and then put the black and white newsprint motif around it. And I can remember, I don't know, she would have been like 19 or 20, so I would have been like 15. So it was in the early 70s. And I just remember thinking, oh, that was so cool. Like, how creative. And yeah, I just like, that was fun. You know, to me, looking back, that was the fun and the joy of being out on your own. Much more fun than going shopping for the perfect thing. So anyway, is that Underconsumption Core? Is that the kind of thing that the kids these days, well, at least some of the kids, or these kids that are talking about Underconsumption Core, is that the kind of thing they're talking about? Oh, I read an article where it said that one of the young content creators was talking about the old dishes that she had from her grandmother in the frying pan that wasn't new, and et cetera, and I was just like, that, I think that's awesome. I think that is so great that, you know, there's a kind of a pride in, or at least a segment of the young population is trying to look at buying less as something to be proud of, which I think is pretty cool. I'll say that the Rule of 5 challenge and the rise of thrifting and shopping consignment and all these pop-up swap shops that you see in some cities, not in my city, but well, that I'm aware of, but I have heard about them in London. That's awesome. I mean, that's Underconsumption Core. Yeah, so I just hope it lasts. It seems that so many people these days are looking to social media and other sources to find out how they should be living their life. Or at least I think that's what the influencers are hoping that we're doing, because they want to tell us how to live our life and the products that we will need to buy in order to be able to live our best life. Well, maybe we should all hop on the Underconsumption Core bandwagon and become de-influencers. You know, wear your clothes, use your stuff. You don't need to be buying new all the time. Let's start preaching that message. This is the gospel according to Pollyanna. So am I being too naive? I don't know, maybe. But I will say that Pollyanna is alive and well and living in Manatik. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Just me yammering on, as I am wont to do. Please click like and subscribe, because it really helps. And I'll see you next month, or whenever.